This little PSA reminder. I hope that when you did that oil cooler, before you just hopped in the truck and tried to turn the key to get that puppy to start, I hope you primed the high pressure oil system before you installed this little bad boy up here, or you prevented him from just getting supply side voltage. So what you're supposed to do, recognize that inadequate supply side voltage kills FICMs. And brother, I want your business, but only if I need to get it, you know what I'm saying? So if you have something fail, but I guess they call them accidents for a reason. But a whole lot of our FICM customers become our customers because somebody didn't know that there's a sequence that you're supposed to follow to prime the high pressure oil system. So what you need to do is you need to actively prevent this module, this FICM, from getting supply side voltage before it's ready to actually do something with it. So in order to get the FICM to get energized, you need to get FICM sync. And in order to get a FICM sync, you need cam sync and crank sync, a lack of keep alive memory codes, an exhaust back pressure sensor that's working, and you need to have injection control pressure over 500 psi. And you're like, hey, what's the problem? I don't have injection control pressure over 500 psi. I got a bunch of air in the system. The FICM's not going to get energized because the FICM relay is not going to see any juice. Well, that's true, but recognize in the process of getting high pressure oil, there's going to be some air and maybe some blips and some spurts where that ICP sensor is going to see 500 psi for just a second. And then it won't, and then it will, then it won't, then it will, then it won't. And so what'll happen is this relay is going to get energized off on, off on, off on. It's kind of like make up your mind, but this is akin to your, at home plate, it's a swing and going for the fences, but it's a miss. And you're like, oh my goodness, my shoulder is killing me, because you rip your freaking ligaments out. And it's the same way in the FICM. There's something called a metal oxide field effect transistor. So these MOSFETs, they get all kind of pissed off when there is no pressure against them. So when your baseball bat contacts that ball and you go off, all of a sudden you're good. You're not taking your ligaments and frying them. It's the same thing with the FICM. So what you want to do is you want to, step one, you want to yank the FICM's relay, which is just a little 1x1x1 cube that's sitting in the fuse box to the driver side of the master cylinder. After you pull that relay up out of there, then you go ahead, you do not use the remote start engagement wire on the passenger side fender well, like y'all are, so many of you are used to using, because that does not energize the IPR valve. And so literally half of your cranking is all that oil is going right back to the oil pan, and your high pressure oil pump is a high pressure, low volume pump. So what you want to do is you want to, pull the relay. You want to offset this amperage draw that you're about to put on your batteries by hooking up a battery charger to it. You want to recognize, hold on a second, it's a 1,350 amp inrush current to get that started to begin spinning, and about 300 amps to keep it spinning. Holy buckets, that's a lot. Let me go ahead and hook up a battery charger. And even recognize, even if you're wheel up 100 amp, start sequence charger, it's not putting out the number of amps offsetting this that you think it is. It just isn't. So your batteries are going to get weak in this process. So what you want to do is, pull the relay and then hop in the driver's seat and crank on the truck 15 seconds on, probably 45 seconds or so off, until you either see 500 psi, or better yet, don't be looking at psi, look at injection control pressure voltage, which is 0.93, because what happens is the ECM gets tricked by the software, because you can spoof the ICP psi with your ECM based software to think it's higher than it is. But ICP voltage is not spoofed. So you want to wait for 0.93 if you can, or if you don't have gauges, you don't have a way to measure ICP voltage, then go ahead and look at PSI. It's better than nothing. And just, pass the reasonableness test. You're not going to see it just immediately because you put a whole lot of air in the system. And so then you crank on it 15 seconds on, 45 seconds or so off, and you do that over and over again until you see that 500 psi equivalent, hopefully the 0.93 volts. Now, after you see that, and by the way, if you don't have gauges at all, like, what are you doing? We can hook you like $30. It can hook you up with OBD2 based, Bluetooth, and you can just download a program on your iPhone or your Android device called Torque Pro or ForceScan or something, and you can get these numbers that way. So it's not that expensive, but If you don't have that, just do this. It could take up to 3 minutes of starter engagement time in order to build up that injection control pressure. But after you see the 500 psi, then stop. Take your girl out for dinner. Come back to this later after the batteries have had a chance to recover. Then hopefully grab a buddy if you can. If you can't, I understand. But if you can, grab a buddy. That'd be great. And what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and crank on the truck continuously. About 20 seconds is what it should take of cranking continuously before you see that 500 psi or that 0.93 volts again. As soon as you do, get off the key, have your buddy, hopefully your buddy, just in the interest of time, drop that relay back in to the into the fuse box there, and then immediately engage the starter, and your truck will fire immediately up, and you will have never subjected your FICM to supply side voltage. Now, we're not done yet. If you all have done this before, you know that tomorrow and the next day and for maybe a couple of days thereafter, you're going to have elongated cranks normally. Why is that? Because there's still air in the high pressure oil system. So you want to get that out of there because you don't want the elongated crank tomorrow. So what you do, let the thing idle until like 120 degree oil or something until it's mostly warmed up, and then take it for a drive and just leave it in low or leave it in second or something and drive around for like 5 minutes at like 3,000 RPM. And then you can come back and you can shut off the truck. You'll have purged all of the air out of the high pressure oil system. You will have prevented the FICM from ever seeing supply side voltage inadequacies. You won't have burnt out your starter. You won't have ruined your batteries. And life is just good. And then you can maybe, spend money some other way, like on an upgraded alternator so you don't kill your FICM that way, or on some solenoids for your transmission so you don't, have to buy a transmission from me. All these kinds of things. So preventative maintenance is the maintenance of the day. It'll just save you some cash and some hassle and some consternation and stuff. So I hope this makes sense to you. And onward and upward. So FICMRepair.com. We're all in this together. Leave your comments below. I want to see them. If y'all have been doing this forever, or if you think this is stupid or whatever, just put your comments in below. You won't hurt my feelings. All right. Thanks, guys.